Our final speaker of the session will be Rakib from Arizona State University. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for still hanging around. I promise I will try to be quick. So yeah, I'll be presenting this paper, Understanding the Perception and Awareness of Education Technologies, Privacy and Security Issues. So education technology, or EdTech, broadly includes all technologies that are being used in educational context, and they are pretty much everywhere in various forms. So for example, Canvas is one of the most popular learning management systems. Google has this virtual classroom targeted towards more like K-12 schools. Class Dojo is for monitoring kids' behavior in schools, and it tries to punish or reward kids based on that behavior or how the AI-based system detects, perceive this behavior. Examity is a remote proctoring, or one of the remote proctoring apps, and it uses AI-based techniques to kind of detect cheating during remote exams. So jointly, they have more than 230 million users. And here is a broader picture of what's happening with the EdTech space. So it was estimated that the EdTech market will exceed $340 billion by 2025, but the pandemic further accelerated the growth, and it's now estimated to be over 400 billion USD. And simultaneously, we are seeing an increasing number of security privacy incidents. Many of these incidents involve data breaches, but a lot of incidents also involve data abuses, either by the service providers or their business partners for profit. So the researchers in the security privacy community and activists have been raising concerns about this continuous data collection, and massive data collection by edtechs, and in particular, experts have been warning that the schools don't have usually the necessary resources, infrastructure to protect the security and privacy of the systems, and the current laws, data protection laws, are mostly outdated and incapable of holding the service providers accountable when things go wrong. So this situation led us to kind of examine whether the public is aware of this risk and how do they perceive them. Because there has been incidents where the public played a key role in kind of preventing invasive technology. For example, in the UK, mass protests led to the rollback of some AI-based grading system. In Canadian universities, so remote proctoring tools were banned after learning analytics researcher raised concerns about that, and then followed by some US universities. And currently, in many states, room scanning by these proctoring tools have been declared as unlawful in the states. So these incidents are examples of applications that were mostly adopted during the pandemic and affected a lot of people at the same time. But there are numerous other applications or apps that pose similar risk, but they didn't get that much of a highlight. So in this study, we aim to kind of provide a holistic view of people's perceptions, their concerns, and how they experienced while they used or maybe somehow learned about EdTech. So we relied on two data sources, one from Twitter and another from Reddit. And so we collected all posts related to EdTech since the beginning of Twitter and Reddit and until March 2022. So specifically, we searched for tweets with relevant keywords and hashtags, and then we collected more than 11 million tweets. We unfortunately had to restrict our analysis only on English tweets, more than 9 million. For the Reddit, we collected all posts from 8 education-related subreddits, and total number of posts were more than 0.5 million. Okay, so let's look at some results, starting with Twitter. So this is the trend of tweets related to EdTech since 2007. And as you can see, the number of tweets skyrocketed at the beginning of the COVID, and then started to kind of come down at the end of 2021. So next we asked who tweeted about EdTech, and in particular we are interested in finding out the perceptions of different user groups or other stakeholders like students, educators, parents, policymakers, and so on. But these information are not available directly from Twitter, right? So what we did was we tried to infer this information based on profile description. So we first used 3 NLP models to detect the language. Then we pre-processed the text and kind of embedded the text in a vector space. Then we clustered these vectors and then manually reviewed the most important keywords in each cluster to figure out what this profile represent or this group of profiles represent. And then we labeled these clusters and we came up with 7 groups. So I'm showing here 5 that are most closely related to kind of the shareholder or user groups. First one is academic, so people who state that they are either researcher or teacher, educator in different institutes. Academic techies are somewhere in between of educators and technologists, so they mostly engage with training or certification process of using edtechs. Techies are mostly service providers, software developers. News represent journalists or journals, and profiles in personal category emphasize personal relationships. So this plot shows the number of users in each group and how many tweets they posted over time. And as can be seen, the academic techie group was the most enthusiastic and posted the highest number, way more than any other group. And our main question is then, how many of these tweets are actually about security and privacy, and which is very challenging to figure out because only first research on analyzing online reviews found that only maybe 0.5% at most reviews relate to actually security privacy. So we applied several filtering mechanisms. First, we started with searching with keywords like surveillance, data valence, or invasion, things like that. Then we clustered tweets based on the topics and filtered out tweets or topics that are irrelevant to our goal. And then we conducted sentiment analysis and finally came up with around 7,000 tweets that seemed to be related to security privacy. And then we manually categorized, labeled each of them, and then categorized based on what type of security privacy issues were raised in those posts. So there were about 400 tweets that expressed general concerns around data collection, privacy, security stuff. 700 tweets mentioned specific concerns, either specific to some tool or some specific risks. So, for example, some learning management system storing passwords in plain text. 200 tweets talked about privacy violating incidents, like some university tracking students using their mobile phone. 500 tweets circulated news articles about different security privacy issues or breaches, and 300 tweets discussed the laws and policies around learning technologies. And in these tweets, so there were 161 unique edtech apps or providers that were mentioned, and top 5 are GoGuardian, Check, Examsoft, Edpuzzle, and Pearson VUE. This plot shows the trend of these tweets, when they were posted and the frequency, and this trend is pretty similar to the overall tweeting pattern over these 12 years or so. And so we also wanted to know how far these tweets were propagated, because the more people saw this, the more likely that a larger population was aware of these issues or became aware of these issues. So this plot shows tweets posted in every 3 months and then how many times they were retweeted. The size of the circles represent how many times they were liked. So first, tweets, there are 2 observations I want to make. First is these tweets expressing specific concerns received way more retweets, but still, second, total number of retweets, likes, both are pretty low. So overall, these results indicate that low level of risk awareness among the general public. Let's move on to Reddit. So we found about 4,000 posts about security privacy. Then we manually labeled them and only retained 186 that were actually about security privacy. So this table shows they are mostly posted in subreddits for teachers, educators, or system admins. So I want to focus on more qualitative findings because of the time constraints. So we found that most educators are concerned about student privacy, but some also dismissed their concerns because their reasoning was that students don't really care about their privacy because they use social media or similar services, which I find absurd. On the other hand, some educators also expressed concerns about their own privacy, like teaching remotely from their home or other private settings. Few educators reported conflicts with admins because they were asked to use EdTech in a way that may violate the terms of service. Another post reported that their institute provided backdoor access to all students' data to some senior personnel multiple times. And this post also highlighted like the lack of accountability regarding data access or management in their institutes. So finally, some posts reported that several applications track users across devices, and school-issued devices scan home network traffic. So such activities not only threatens users' privacy in non-educational settings, but also threatens the privacy of non-users, like family members of the students or whoever uses these technologies. So how we can use this, the findings of this study? So first of all, we focused on users' perception, but perceiving a risk doesn't mean it exists in reality. So future research could investigate whether the concerns raised are true or just false perception. And a starting point could be like, what are the apps people most frequently mention or think invasive? I think it's also worthwhile to dig deeper to understand how institutional policies and conflicts impact end users' privacy. And another research question could be like activities like home network scanning or multi-tracking across devices, how they impact marginalized students or other user groups who are from the marginalized communities, because they are more likely to share devices with others or rely more on school-issued devices. So with that, I would like to thank everyone. Thank you all. Please, if you have any questions, comments.
All right. Why? Every time. Thank you. All right. A question from Zulip. Andy says, great talk. Did you hear about concerns about bystanders?
I am assuming bystanders in the context of like maybe someone using cameras in a remote meeting or something.
Yeah, I would
like
think maybe while someone's in class, if there's other people in
yes,
the
right.
home or location.
Right. No, we did not find anything like this in our data set. The reason could be because we actually could not find any student group in our Twitter data set. And mostly that type of concerns could come out from that group, but they are not, at least not expressing those concerns on these platforms.
All right. Thank you.